get your shit splat. Stop, let this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. Get your lick back. If a nigga owe you something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your shit splat. Stop, let this shit slide and get your lick back. And get your lick back. I feel like I'm JX.
J-Way.
I'm a perfectionist. Adderall got me restless.
I'm gone.
Run with a wild crew, they get reckless. Young boy, come up off that neck.
Give me that.
To the trends. See a lead, be the best.
Good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Corner to Copa. We're back with another player profile, but this time we got an episode highlighting key players going into the season. Next season, this is a player that you may have slipped your mind because he didn't play very much last year, but he's going into, this will be his fourth season as a Detroit Tiger. And we're talking about Matt Vierling. Now, last year, he started the year on a 60-day IL stint. I think he had a couple at bats in the spring training, and would soon after that end up on the IL. He returned back around July, and then would be placed. And just as soon as you could probably sense him kind of finding his sea legs, he would land back on the IL for the remainder of the season. He's a versatile utility player. He plays some outfield, he plays some third base. He played a tiny bit of first base as well. So he can play all over. He can play all over in the dirt, outside of shortstop, in second base. But he also plays all over the outfield. And he was a part of that group that of the Tigers that started the year out on the IL, including Wenceel Perez and Parker Meadows. But he's shown some vast improvement. I'm gonna pull up his page for you real quick. But his first season in Detroit was back in 2023, I believe. And he's shown a vast improvement since he became a Detroit Tiger. His first year, he had a 1.5 wins above replacement. And then in his second year, he was able to improve to a 3-WAR player, which is pretty impressive for a guy that's kind of a, unsung hero. But yeah, he was pretty big for us in 2024 when we made our first trip to the playoffs. He's a veteran guy. He's 29. I believe he'll be 30. He won't be 30 until August. So there's potential for him to continue to ascend. But he was a 3-WAR player as a third baseman and an outfielder back in 2024. And you look at the analytics. He's a guy that's going to get give you some line drive hits. But he rarely expands his zone. He rarely swings and miss. So he's a good contact guy. He's a guy that you can put at the top of your order if you really want to. The Tigers last year missed his speed. He had some decent pop. He had 16 home runs. He improved from 2023 to 2024. He had 6 more home runs, and he increased his slug, and the hard hit rate didn't really go up, but the contact rate for sure went up. He only had 100 plate appearances, 88 official at bats last year. But you look at the peripherals, they were right there. The hard hit rate was up, the barrel rate was up. And, as far as the chase and whiff, it held par with his 2024 season, which lets me know if he comes back healthy, he can, contribute to our team and raise our floor again in this upcoming year. Yeah, the Tigers were dead last in stolen bases, and we didn't have a lot of speed. We had guys at the top of our lineup like Gleyber Torres, Cole Keith. These aren't speed demons. Even even Riley Green. Not very fast. Torkelson. We had a lot of Dylan Dingler. Not much speed on our team. So we ended up once we decided to re-sign him, we ended up trading away Justin Henry Malloy. So that just lets me know that as of right now, he's going to be slotted in the corner somewhere, and he might, depending on the way Parker Meadows progresses, he might be a bridge guy to Max Clark as the predecessor down the road. But not to get rid of him too soon because he's still somewhat in the prime of his career, and it might be an essential player for us. One thing about us last year, we struck out a ton. As you can see, he strikes out a decent amount, but he doesn't swing and miss much. He can put the ball in play, which is what we need. The on base percentage numbers aren't great, but I like his defensive value. I like his ability, his base running ability. As you can see, he doesn't steal many bases. He got 6, 6, and 2. So despite him having some pretty elite sprint speed, he doesn't steal a lot of bases. But I think that he can bring some balance to our lineup. We need a right-handed bat. We need somebody with some pop. Like his his home run number 16 is solid, but we need somebody that can put the ball in play. We had a ton of guys that struck out a lot, and he should, if we decide to go a different direction. Jake Hudson in the building, appreciate you. Subscribe to the channel, man. But yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, he's a guy that, even though he does, well, let's look at his strikeout rate last year. So it's about average. He does tend to strike out some, but yeah, the speed and the ability to put the ball in play is is something that we need. Now, we need to. I feel like we need to go out and you know raise our ceiling. I mean, because you got Wenzel Perez, who's a solid corner outfield, but we got a lot of guys that are like, they teeter on the fourth outfielder. They're not everyday outfielders. We know that Carpenter is going to get the day off against righties, no, against lefties, meaning that, you're going to plug Vierling in there some days, you're going to plug in Wenzel Perez some days. But we need an everyday power bat, preferably somebody that can, that's not going to strike out as much as Green, Torkelson. We got some guys that strike out a decent amount that are going to put the ball in the seats, but we need some more guys that put the ball in the play. So that's where Vierling's going to come in. He's a veteran. He's got playoff experience with the Tigers and with the Phillies. And in addition to that, he could be, competing for, starts at the third base position, at the third base position as well. Now, as of right now, you think that it'll probably be Cole Keith, but he tends to start slow. So there may be days where we have to go with Matt Vierling, especially against lefties. Once again, you need somebody to hit against lefties. McKinstry can't do it, or I don't think that you choose McKinstry. It'll probably be Javi Baez, but then who plays shortstop in those instances? Javi's got to play short, and then Vierling probably gets to start at third base in those scenarios. So, but yeah, if he can bounce back and get back to that the form that he was back in 2024 when he was a 3 wins above replacement, which once again is pretty impressive for a utility guy. then yeah, he should play a ton of games. Now let's pull up his stats. And there's really no point in sharing the 2024, 2025, because that was pretty much a wash year. He did have a big home run. If you're watching the visual side of things, he did have a big walk-off home run against the Angels, but he immediately went back on the IL right after that stint. So um, did not play very much. So let's pull up the 2024 stats. He had 16 home runs and 57 RBIs. About league average OPS. You look at the splits, he's hit 275 against lefties, so he's definitely a guy that you platoon um, against lefties. I could see him being the third baseman. I can see Wenzel Perez being the starting right fielder, and then you put Jahmai Jones, and then you got a pretty balanced righty to lefty matchup because Torkelson's going to play is going to play that day. Green's going to play every day. Dingler's going to play that day. Um, Torres, you actually probably have a lot. It's pretty much all righties in that particular situation. You play Baez at shortstop. But yeah, getting back to that, yeah, 275 average against lefties, which is pretty good. 250 against righties, so not horrible. So look, the vast majority of 2024, he was in the 3 slot. Luckily, we don't have to worry about that now. Maybe that's a lot of games batting third. Honestly, for Matt Vierling, a guy that doesn't have a ton of power, but it splits with runners on 256, not bad. 257 with none on, so hits for decent average. He's just a solid player. Eventually down the line, he could be essential trade bait, just because I think there's a lot of teams out there that need versatile players that can play the outfield, play some first, play some third, and yeah, we eventually may get to a point to where we don't need them, but it's pretty evident that they found him more valuable, even with him not playing much last year. They found him more valuable than a Justin Henry Malloy, and I would think that it was due to his defensive versatility. That and the fact that we still kind of have a hole at third base, and he's one of our better options at third base because Jace Young hasn't developed, and they're not ready to throw, Max Anderson and Kevin McGonigal in as the everyday third baseman. So we'll see how that progresses. There's still an opportunity for the Tigers to go out and get a third baseman like a Eugenio Suarez or move Bo Bichette over. I think that's it as far as third base options are concerned. So unless we go way left field and find somebody else, but as of right now, Vierling is pretty much the platoon option at third base and in the corner outfield. So, but yeah, if he can get back to regular form, he's always been a solid player, a player that's gotten better and better every year. Last year was a wash, but he's not he's not old. He'll be 29 the entire year. Let's see, hold on, his birthday. Yeah, his birthday's in September, so he'll be 30 on September 16th, pretty much when the season is over with. But the athleticism still there, the skills are still there. He just needs to be healthy, and he can be beneficial to us. We need a contact hitter, somebody that's not going to strike out. We need some speed, and he brings brings some speed to us. So, but subscribe to the channel, and let me know what your thoughts or what your expectations are from Vierling, and give me any suggestions of any other players that you would like to see me profile. He's just somebody that I feel like has kind of gone under the radar because he didn't play a whole lot last year, but I still kind of believe in his potential, not so much his potential, but him being able to raise the floor for the team, which of course you want to raise the ceiling and continue to ascend. But this team was pretty good last year for the vast majority of the year. We just needed a guy like Vierling that could just kind of hold court, not do a whole lot, but he provides a little bit of everything to the team. So subscribe to the channel. We'll be back soon, and yeah, we'll see what the Tigers got going on as far as free agency is concerned. I'm out.
Get your lick back. If a nigga owe you something, ain't no chit chat. Better stay up out the way, don't get your shit splat.